starring Marcus BrigSoc.
I am Marcus BrigSoc. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to the Brig Society. With me tonight are Margaret Caborn-Smith, Rufus Jones and William Andrews. Good UKIP, ladies and gentle Farage. It's Nigel to be back on BBC Radio UKIP for half a UKIP with some Farage and UKIP as part of the BBC's ongoing commitment to UKIP. I am required by the Charter to Farage UKIP, Nigel UKIP, Immigrant UKIP as often as I UKIP. You see, the thing is, I was at the library the other day. I do some part-time voluntary shushing on Wednesdays. I also stand by the contemporary fiction section explaining to disappointed punters that Will Self and Will I Am are different people, despite Anyway, I got talking to Maureen from Volunteer Services, who asked if I would be willing to take on a thankless job working with some of the most unfortunate, dangerous and deeply troubled people in the community. I said, OK, and now I'm an MEP.
The results of the EU election 2014 in the South-West, Northern East region are as follows. Jeffrey Entitlement Overbite Eaton.
Conservative.
2 votes. Jennifer Browbeaten Alice Meanswell.
Lib Dem.
No votes. Neville William Hate Crime Bigot.
UKIP.
No votes.
Blast. I was going to vote for myself, but Nigel told us we should always vote no to everything, you see.
Marcus BrigSoc.
Typical bedwetting, smug, liberal BBC drone party.
3 votes.
Ooh, good turnout.
So I declare Marcus BrigSoc the MEP for Vagueshire in the Middle.
Thank you. God, the turnout for the European elections was bleak. I've seen Christmas episodes of EastEnders with more hope in them than that.
The dog's died under a van and your mum's ran off. There's a fire in the Queen Vic, the square's been sold and everyone's voted UKIP. Happy Christmas.
Yes, our chance to speak up for our future, and 65% of the UK electorate declared with all the enthusiastic zeal of a goth in a sauna, I couldn't give a tinker's tit. You know, despite what is claimed to be a lack of interest in the EU, it is a topic much discussed.
Oh, bloody EU. They've bled us dry.
Yeah.
I mean, what have the EU ever done for us?
Human rights legislation?
What?
Well, human rights legislation.
And consumer protection.
Yeah, all right. Obviously human rights and consumer protection.
But peace?
Yeah, well, obviously peace. It goes without saying.
Single market.
Student exchange programme?
Regional funding.
Guaranteed healthcare.
What about cheaper international phone calls? I like them.
No.
Yeah, all right. Now, apart from human rights, consumer protection, peace, the single market, regional funding, healthcare provisions and cheaper phone calls, what have the EU ever done for us?
Intellectual property protection.
What's that then?
Well, you know, ripping off other people's sketch formats.
We better shut up then.
Marcus started it.
Yeah, well, he's a very naughty boy.
The Eurocrat Express from platform 3A is the 0600 service from London St Pancras to Brussels, calling at Ashford in Kent. Unexpected tunnelly hideout for Bond villain and Brussels.
Right, here we go. This should be my train, and for Telegraph readers, yes, it's completely made of gravy. It's an actual gravy train. Well done. Yep, pretty exciting. All the new bugs are making like homesick sprouts and heading off to Brussels. I wonder who I'll sit with. Now, this is the carriage traditionally reserved for the Liberal Democrat MEPs, or as it's now known, the quiet coach.
Do you mind?
Shh.
Sorry.
No. Oh, God, this will be the UKIP mob.
What do we want?
1950!
When do we want it?
Then! Oh, crikey, what was that? Eesh. Looks like the SNP have decoupled themselves from the main engine in the hope they'll have enough momentum to carry them through the big black tunnel looming up ahead of them. Well, this is very exciting, but I must admit, as the Eurostar pulls out of London and passes under the sea for 24 miles in a tunnel we built with the French that magically emerges on the continent before going straight on to Belgium in only a couple of hours, I find myself wondering if this international cooperation idea can ever truly work. I'm a bit nervous as well about how I'll cope in the EU. I mean, there's the language issues for a start. I'm sure they'll do it in English in a second.
And a selection of hot and cold beverages.
Oh, God, that was the English. So, I've arrived in Brussels. You know, a lot of people say it's too big and wasteful and full of idiots, but they're probably thinking of a Range Rover. Anyway, I think I'm getting the measure of it. Come on, I'll show you round. Now, this is where the Parliament sits to debate the big stuff. It's called the hemicycle. Sounds like a special cushion you put on a bike if grapes are in season, but it's not. It's a big room. It needs to be. 751 MEPs. Nothing wasteful so far. Now, if we go through this door... There's another huge hall exactly the same, only now we're 108 miles away in Strasbourg. Why? Well, because the French came up with an idea that a percentage of all parliamentary activity has to happen in France. Then they went all shruggy until everyone agreed. Do you know, 89% of MEPs want a single location for the Parliament, and 81% of them want that to be Brussels. Brussels! If 81% of any group of people anywhere actually want to be in Brussels, something's gone wrong. Right, it's my first debate. I'm back in the hemicycle. Now, you're supposed to sit with your political grouping. I'm not sure who anyone is. Oh, I'll ask this chap. He looks pretty confident. Hello? I'm Marcus from Britain. Where do I sit?
That depends. Now, I understand that in your country you're sorted into houses by a kind of magical talking hat.
Yeah, that's not real.
Oh. Well, that's good. I'll tell the Magical Hat Commission and they can stop looking. That should save about 12 billion euros. So, here, you choose to sit with people you can make common cause with.
Oh, OK, that's simple enough. Just ask them if they love Stilton. Oh, I tell you what. Who's that good-looking guy over there?
That's Morten Messerschmidt.
Ooh, strong name. Morten Messerschmidt. It's like Aha meets the Luftwaffe. I hope I can be his friend.
He's with the Danish People's Party.
They sound nice.
They're a far-right anti-immigration party.
Ah, so I was right about the Luftwaffe bit. OK, let's move on. How about these guys?
Jobbik from Hungary. Now, they are Nazis. Anti-Semitic, in favor of internment camps.
Right, but what are they doing here?
They came second in Hungary. I see from your face you're not so impressed.
No. What about those three guys?
The Greeks?
Yeah. Would I like them?
It depends. Do you like Nazis?
Not really.
Well, then, no.
Oh. Why are there so many Nazis?
It depends on who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you. Actually, sorry, who are you?
I'm Geert Wilders, head of the Dutch Freedom Party.
Oh, God. You're not a Nazi, are you?
No. I'm a racist.
Oh.
Well, at least if it's racist to call for the expulsion of one ethnic group from Holland.
Yes, I'd say it definitely is.
Oh, it's not just an immigration thing. It's an anti-EU thing, too. We no longer wish to be governed by unelected bureaucrats.
How did you get here?
I was elected.
Good. That, by the way, is all true about the current popularity of Nazism in the EU. And, by the way, Morten Messerschmidt, real person, real name. And that Hungarian party really is called Jobbik. Hungarian is a notoriously difficult language to pronounce, so the best way to get a sense of this party is to use the Billy Connolly accent and refer to them as Jobbik. Because that'll really tell you what you need to know about them. I went into the polling booth and I left a great big Jobbik. Oh no, someone's put a huge Jobbik on the floor of the European Parliament. The UK isn't blameless. We've sent enough terrible politicians to Europe that when those terrible politicians say the whole place is full of terrible politicians, it's very hard to disagree with them. When you hear some spittle-flecked, red-trousered dolt with a pint in his hand who's just been sent back to mouth-fart on our behalf in the EU saying,
"The whole place is corrupted and full of wrong-uns,"
it's very hard not to think post hoc ergo propter hoc.
Do not come here speaking that foreign muck, please.
Well, quite, but where else other than Radio 4 can your punchline be a slightly misplaced Latin phrase? You know, UKIP's reductionist nationalist vision for Britain is based on willfully dishonest simplifications of complex ideas. And by the way, guys, piece of advice. In order to prove you're not racist, again, it doesn't really work to just go, I know, let's get some black men in. They can play their lovely steel drums of theirs. That should make it clear we're not racist. Oh, and then not pay them. Said steel band showed up for the booking in Croydon, took one look at who'd booked them and said, "We're not playing for you," and they went home. Thank goodness Godfrey Bloom had already left the party, or we might well have had him on the steps of Croydon Town Hall going, "Deo!" I mean, look, I'm not saying there aren't problems with the EU. It is far from perfect. You could be forgiven for thinking that regulating everything can take the joy out of things. OK, EU plenary session 4318, Agriculture Subcommittee imports fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, just looking at line 1 of the document.
Work all night on a drink our rum. Yeah, this is in clear breach of the Fruit Gathering Alcohol Consumption Protocol 2008, subsection bananas.
Yeah, yes, and now line 2.
Stack banana till the morning come?
Yeah, well, we're bang up against our old friend, the European Working Time Directive. When does the morning come?
Yeah, it's way too vague. Any definition of the morning come will need to take into account the variable nature of dawn vis-à-vis seasonal changes in tropical climes.
Yeah. And can I refer you to document 12 in your pack pertaining to perishable goods whereby the banana or bananas should only be stacked on individual pallets with a minimum 3 centimetre separation to ensure proper intra-banana airflow till the morning come.
Absolutely. Can I also flag up that he's asked the tally man to tally his banana?
Yeah, OK, so for our purposes, can we deem the tally man hereinafter designated as a non-sexually specific fruit enumeration executive to include the terms tally man, tally woman, tally person, but not tally ho?
Sure. So effectively, come Mr. or Mrs. Fruit Enumeration Executive, tally me banana.
Yeah.
Well, now we ought to turn to weights and measures. It says here, stack 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch.
Yes, I'll take this. It's fairly simple. Just amend that to stack 1.83, 2.13, 2.43 metre bunch.
Very good. This import application is now legal, standardised and fully safety compliant.
Yeah, well, that all went rather well. This last line's very encouraging. A beautiful bunch of ripe banana.
Hide the deadly black tarantula. Right, cancel my 4 o'clock.
We need to...
OK, I think we probably ought to deal with this. Does anyone else's Thursday evening go like this?
Good evening, welcome to Question Time, coming to you live from somewhere I've certainly no intention of spending the night, so... Let me introduce the panel.
Why can't we talk about immigration?
Yes, we'll take a question for that woman there in the haircut once I've introduced the panel.
What I want to say is this. Why is no one talking about immigration?
Yes, I agree. You haven't even started yet and you're already not talking about immigration.
OK, if I could just introduce the panel.
Immigration!
Right.
You see, the problem is, all of the mainstream panellists then put on a serious face and say, yes, we must have a debate about immigration, and then they don't. And neither do UKIP. They just make it sound scary without actually dealing with the issues. So, here goes. I wish someone on Question Time would stare straight down the barrel of the camera and say, other people live here now too. The world's like that. Some of us live over there and some of them live over here. Like curry? Enjoy reasonably priced strawberries? Good. Welcome to the 21st century. Someone in the city can make a couple of million euros in someone else's country with the click of a mouse. So when some of the moustachy, the accented, the veiled and the cabbagey come back with the receipts, you shouldn't be surprised. You know, the fruitcakes and loons would have us believe that these nations we live and work alongside are from another planet where they eat babies and float about on hostess trolleys with a slave army of rubber badgers. Yes, I know that some communities have changed dramatically. So, what do you say to the lady who's frightened because some young men are using funny vowel sounds near the post office? You say this. You say, Hollywood started when 5 penniless Jewish guys from Poland pitched up with an idea for a photo that moved about a bit. Mo Farah is a black British immigrant Muslim called Mohammed, and he won us a gold medal. In 1972, 27,000 Ugandan Asians arrived, and because of that, you can buy a pint of milk at 4 o'clock in the morning and see an ophthalmologist if you want. So the next time you sit down with a Chinese meal in front of a DVD that you can see clearly, thanks to Dr. Chatterjee, and talk about how there's too many of that lot over here now, shut up.
But you say that, Martin.
Marcus, doesn't matter.
You say that, Martin,
But it's all changed. All the old shops have been replaced. There's a Polski sklep now, right where that nice packy shop used to be.
You see, we're not multicultural. We're cultural. The multi is implicit. Your neighbour is not the enemy, unless there's a row about Leylandii, in which case it's all-out war. The Poles and the Bulgarians didn't drive our economy off a cliff. The bankers did. Immigrants don't set the wages. The bosses do. If you want to know about people who speak a different language, eat extraordinary food, and whose manners and ethics are likely to be very different from yours, try having a load of bankers move in near you.
Yeah, I'm going to park my enormous Jeep across your doorway so I don't have to walk and because you don't matter, OK? Also, my wife and I will be braying from about 10 till Monday, OK?
Darling, did you get the trout cheeks from the fish man? We're completely out of miso ice cream. Shall I put out the children? I'm in tar, darling. Draw Mummy a food bank and we'll play POV Monopoly.
Well, the MEP thing seems to be going pretty well. No one in the UK knows who I am or what I'm for, but I'm on Radio 4, so I'm used to that. Now, a big part of making this work is making sure we can all understand each other. So I'm here with Virginie Descharges, head of the simultaneous translation team for the European Parliament. Hello.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Guten Tag.
Yes, hello.
Ciao.
Really? Is that it? Oh.
No. In this case, I am using ciao in the sense of hello.
Oh, right. Hello.
Bonjour.
OK, let's not go round again. So, Virginie, the EU must use a lot of translators, but surely expecting every one of your team to be fluent in everyone else's language is impossible.
Not at all. Swift and accurate translation is very much how you say, no, it's gone.
Oh, well. So, what exactly...
Important! Swift and accurate translation is very important.
Yes, I imagine it is.
I could only think of the French word.
What? Important.
Oui! Parlez-vous français?
No.
Then how did you understand me?
Yes. Now, you've got to deal in 28 official languages.
Oh, yes. Croatian.
Czech.
Danish.
Czech.
Dutch.
Czech.
Yes, you said that.
No, I was ticking them off my list.
Oh.
It also says here that speakers are allowed to address the Assembly in a Basque.
No, that says in Basque.
Right, yeah. Thought there was some fidgeting during my inaugural speech. OK, enough of the theory. Would it be right if I listened in on a debate?
Of course. This one is about a new draft of the pan-European policing budget. Here, take these headphones. You can switch between language feeds. This is the opening address from one of your MEPs.
Right.
Fellow MEPs.
Kolleginnen und Kollegen der European Parliament.
Mes collègues Parlement Européen.
Bona Romis and Bona Polonis. How dolly Tavada Uriks here in the fantabulosa latte of European democracy.
Hang on, what language is that?
It's Polari. Leon Britton was a big fan of Round the Horn. And on his last day, thought it would be funny to pass an EU directive making it an official language.
Some Omis here, some Polonis, and a couple of you Omi Polonis have set their orbs on my proposals for Lily Law and they're tearing out their rear. Bold. Really bold, they say. He can't troll in here, do that to our policeman. It's naff. Yes, I'm fathering you, you great hairy German butch.
Yes. I think we get the point. Hang on, is that Klingon?
Yes! It's a funny thing. Turns out Angela Merkel is fluent.
Oh. So there you have it. 31 official languages, 378 possible combinations. That is a lot of work. Has it ever gone badly wrong?
Oh, yes. I remember once Silvio Berlusconi addressed the whole parliament.
What happened?
Oh, well, we accidentally translated what he said.
Oh, ouch. Now, one of the big charges against the EU is that it's undemocratic. So let's have a look at how it all actually works. In order to pass a piece of EU legislation...
Actually, 70% of our laws come from...
Shush, UKIP, grown-ups talking.
Right.
So, in order to pass legislation, the European Commission, here represented by Rufus...
Hello?
So you've gone with an accent. What is that?
Let's say Belgian.
Okay, I think we can already see where this is going. So, the European Commission...
Hello?
Yes, come up with an idea.
We propose that it would be a bad idea to sell chemical weapons to the Syrian regime.
Yes, a bit grim. So, for the purposes of the illustration, we will replace the chemical weapons embargo with something more silly.
We propose that it is not okay to smash a shopkeeper in the face with a halibut.
Right. Sensible. A draft bit of legislation saying it's not okay to do this.
But I don't want halibut.
Ouch!
Now, that bit of draft legislation then goes to the elected MEPs, who are the European Parliament, here represented by Margaret.
Hello.
Good, and you're being from?
Italy.
OK, now, you have the debate, Margaret. You're good at voices, so please could you represent all 751 elected MEPs representing 28 countries and 31 different official languages. Debate on.
We think it's a good idea. We don't like it, huh? We already have Aliboy slapping laws. I'm French and I love it. We lost the 8th shopkeeper last month in spite of fish slap crime. What about us? Fish slapping shopkeepers is part of our culture. I like being slapped by fish. I think this law is very sensible.
Good debate. Really threw the ideas around amongst democratically elected MEPs. So that then goes back to the Commission.
Hello.
For any redrafts. They then discuss it and, if necessary, redraft. So go on then, Rufus, discuss it.
The MEPs have said we need a redraft.
Ah, okay then. They want to include other fishes. Which ones? All of them, including very little ones that wouldn't hurt much. Yes, okay then.
Good. So far, pretty democratic, pretty sensible.
I didn't get to do any mildly xenophobic accents.
Yes, I know, William. I'm glad you've said that, because now we come to this. The European Council, made up of the democratically elected leaders and representatives of our national governments, also get to have a chat about it for every bit of legislation. So, William will play the council, and this is how that works.
I like it. Do you like it? Yes.
That's it.
Yes, we're national leaders. We're very busy.
OK. And not just because you didn't want to do all the accents. OK, even better, because you're not specifically elected to the European Parliament, but speak on behalf of the member states, you can't pass legislation on a majority of just 50% of the vote, can you?
No.
So what do you have to do?
Get a 65% majority that speak for at least 55% of the population of Europe.
And why is that?
So the teeny countries can't hold the process to ransom by blocking legislation in return for something they want. We are a smaller country. We are Malta. Hello, Malta. Does this system work okay for you? Broadly speaking, yes. Oh, good.
So if the Commission...
Hello.
Unelected, come up with an idea, then the MEPs...
Hello.
Democratically elected to speak for us in Europe get to say yes or no to it. But it will only become law if the Council...
Hello!
Democratically elected to represent the individual nations within Europe also say yes with 65% of the vote. So, when you're told by someone in yellow cords and a Barber jacket that it's not democratic, what they really mean is the grown-ups were talking and they couldn't keep up. See, I like the European Union because I'm an optimist. I really am an optimist. I mean, I like a barbecue in May. Come on, kids, shorts out. Who wants to towel dry some charcoal? But there are things about the EU we should be deeply concerned about. The TTIP, or Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership.
It's a fun subject for comedy, Marcus.
I know, right? So you just hate it when your gran brings up the TTIP at dinner and you're like, no, Gran, the TTIP is not what Red Indians used to call the toilet tent.
Good times. Yeah. They were really good times.
Essentially, the TTIP involves relaxing a load of US and EU trade regulations. Sounds fine, more jobs. Growth and prosperity for one and all. China and India, of course, find it hilarious watching our old economies pulling on their boxing gloves and trying to get back in the ring.
Oh, yeah, I've still got it, me. Yeah, I want to. Jab to the left, feint to the right. Oh, my eyes come out.
The TTIP is Viagra for economies that are a bit tired, and even fiscal easing isn't reviving them. I love fiscal easing because it isn't dirty, but my God, it sounds like it is. But the TTIP is being negotiated mostly behind closed doors by lobbyists and lawyers acting for big business in secret meetings, mostly while this music plays. I'm guessing. It will improve trade and stimulate growth, but under the TTIP, the UK could be forced to relax regulations on banned food products in Europe, like, for example, American chicken. Now, Americans are allowed to treat, slaughter and store chickens pretty much any way they like. You can strap them to your feet and use them as a pair of comedy slippers, or shove lumps of them in your bra and call yourself Chicky Titty Doodah. It doesn't matter, you can do anything to it, because before you buy it, the Freedom Chickie gets blasted with chlorine. Yeah, They get bleached with chlorine. Chicken that tastes like a swimming pool. Leg, breast or corn plaster. See also growth hormones in beef.
Bigger beef. What's not to like?
Well, I suppose the possibility of growing your own udders.
TT.
The UK could be forced to reverse its ban on asbestos. Remember asbestos? I mean, that's been banned for long enough now, hasn't it? Come on, asbestos. Come off the naughty step now. I hope you've learned your lesson. Ugh. Why do my lungs feel like they've had a vajazzle? With TTIP, business will be able to sue national governments if their regulations put profits at risk. So, fracking firms could, for example, take the government to court for banning risky drilling, like, say, drilling under your kid's school or in your library or through your face while you're sunbathing. But this is the big one.
Private healthcare providers will be able to sue a government which protects the NHS. I repeat, sue the government for having the NHS.
I love the NHS passionately, and I don't want the American system where if you get ill, you have to make crystal meth in order to survive, and that's from a documentary. So you see, suddenly the EU is too big. It's a bloated governmental organism like Eric Pickles, but not as wheezy. The EU's not much good at the moment, the Common Agricultural Policy, fishing quotas, TTIP, etc. But it could be. It's like pita bread, it has so much potential. It's just a question of what you put in it. The EU is the most ambitious democratic project ever undertaken by mankind since two blokes looked at a rock and said, I tell you what, should we lift this up together? To be fair, one of them then said, you go that end, I'll set up an office in Strasbourg. The point is, it's a whopping great powerful tool, and that means you need people in it who know how to behave. Dancing funster Louis Spence is great fun, but you wouldn't give him the keys to a battleship. Sending these gonks to speak for us in Europe is like knowingly employing Liam Gallagher as your butler. Think of the EU as a very expensive restaurant. We've paid in advance, it's a set menu, so the only thing we get to choose is who works in the kitchen. If you fill it with oafs, gits, tossers, chancers, freaks, bigots, graspers, shirkers and the criminally hard of thinking, then don't be surprised when all that appears through the service hatch is a thick lump of pooey soup that tastes of hopelessness and smells like asbestos and chlorine. Good night, bonsoir, and auf Wiedersehen.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that for the translation.
It's all right, it'll be on iPlayer.
That was The Brig Society, starring Marcus BrigSoc with Margaret K. Bone-Smith, William Andrews and Rufus Jones. It was devised with Jeremy Salsby and written by Marcus BrigSoc, Jeremy Salsby, Toby Davies, Nick Doodie, Steve Pont and Dan Tetzel. The producer was David Tyler and the program was a positive production for the BBC.